Welcome everyone back to another Dragon Ball Super card game video. My name is D-Free. Here today we will be taking a look at the Clash of Fates Super Rares alongside the feature rare as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe if you're new for more content. So moving on, we have all of the Super Rares on display. So I do know that I never did any color videos for the red or green colors, but nonetheless, I'll leave a link to the description. You guys can go ahead and check out those cards in particular and offer your own opinions on them in this video. So moving on, here we go. We have the red Frieza. So the Frieza is the be-all end-all as of right now anyway. I mean, unless there's another card in here I'm not sure of. This is the final piece of the red Frieza swap engine. So the swap engine for Frieza seems like it's going to be pretty cool. That deck seems like it's going to be pretty cool too, especially all the red Ginyu Force cards and how they just loop out other cards, and it's going to be crazy. So critical, double strike, already insane having both of those built in. There are not a lot of cards that have both of those types of abilities built in. When your opponent declares to play a battle card or activate a skill that puts battle cards into play, if your leader card is a red Frieza's Army card, which there is one of those. I don't know if there's any older ones. I'd have to double check. Anyways, moving on. You may choose one card from your life and place it in the drop area. If you do, the battle card is played with its skills negated for the duration of the turn. The skill can be activated at counter timing. That last line is the most important thing about this, because we found out recently that things like Janemba, who has a built-in negate, doesn't activate during counter timing, excuse me if I'm correct about that. So like that is important to have that there, because it's weird. Like the auto would still trigger, it's weird. So what this does do though is it's a built-in cold bloodlust. That's insane, which means that you don't necessarily need to play Yellow Engine, right? So there's that, which would have cold bloodlust, etc. You could just force them to play a battle card and have its skills already taken away. Insane. Insane ability. Like, I was looking at this and I was like, what the hell? You know? And not to mention he's double strike critical. So there's that. Small price to pay, critting yourself one life, whatever, right? So we have the Bardock. This is a finisher for the blue engine Bardock deck. There can only be one Final Strike Bardock in play in your battle area, ever. When this card is switched from rest mode to active mode, if your leader is a Bardock's crew card, your opponent chooses one card in their hand and places it at the bottom of their deck. Now, on the surface, it's not anywhere near as good as Frieza is, and I still don't kind of think it is. Just depends on the deck you run it in, of course. These guys are meant to be ran in their specific engines that came out alongside them, or are going to come out alongside them in their color engines. So Bardock is fortunate to have, I believe, a couple of cards, an extra card, and I think Fasha as well, that can restand him. So you can kind of just cheese the auto. So also, that would be a thing that activates if your opponent, or if you like play anything that forces it. I think there's, for example, a Zarbon that would force it back to active mode at the beginning of your turn when it untaps from the attack previously, like stuff like that. So when he restands, he's able to use his ability, and that's very, very, very troublesome for the opponent. So very good card there too. We have the final showdown, Son Goku, double strike. When a Krillin card, shout out to Krillin, with an energy cost of 4 or more in your battle area is KO'd by your opponent. If your leader card is green or black, play this card from your hand. So that's very good, because you're going from having a 4-drop out there that probably gave you some value. There are a couple of Krillins that are 4-drops that are pretty good. The green engine pretty much is going back to green's roots. They're doing a lot of board destruction and stuff of that nature. So when your Krillin card does get destroyed, if your leader is green or black, they're not even forcing you to be running the specific Goku leader for this card either, which is really, really interesting. You get to play this card from your hand. So you can't play another one for the rest of the turn though, but still really, really good. When you play him though, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it. There is no cost restriction on it. It also ignores barrier. There's only about a handful of cards that can do something like that, and he also destroys it. So insanely powerful board removal. Get whatever threat off the board you want. And all that needs to happen is your Krillin needs to be KO'd. They don't say by battle or anything like that. It just has to be by your opponent. So very easy card to play, I would say. Here we go, the Gohan. I didn't even know this Gohan was a super rare. Okay. Interesting. This is a very interesting card. Excuse me, because he's a new type of card. Like, there's not a card like this. This is a new type of card that they're going to obviously print more of in the future, probably for every color as we proceed and progress. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because when you play him, you draw a card. He's a regular cantrip, play, draw 1, 5K. There's a lot of those, right? But he has an ability for 2 energy, which would pretty much mean next turn. Assuming you don't play anything else and assuming you charge, which why wouldn't you charge? For 2 energy, he gets 15k in critical for the duration of the turn. 20k critical, turn 2, draw 1, 5k combo. I see the value, but I kind of felt like I'd rather maybe not do that, but it's a good card. This is an interesting card to me, because like I think as we proceed, see a double strike variant of this would be interesting, right? Stuff like that. So this is good for a lot of the same reasons as the 1-drops were. That would be able to do a whole pull a life thing, but also not good because he doesn't pull a life. Instead, he draws a card. And also because it's not the same turn type of deal. You don't do it all in one turn and get the additional 15k there. So like, or 10k, whatever it is for those cards. So it's just a different kind of card. So to me, it's very polarizing. You know, he's good, but he's not good, but he's good. So it just kind of depends. Anyways, Piccolo fused with Nail. This is something I was waiting for because when we were looking at the yellow cards, I was like, if there's not another Piccolo, this isn't going to be good. Because they all wanted like a 4-drop Piccolo, I believe. Something of that nature. And I just was like, the one that's in here is just not good enough. Like, he's good, but not good enough, right? So here we go. This guy requires 3 yellow energies, by the way. Choose once per turn, choose 1. This card either gets 3,000 power for the duration of the turn for each Namekian card under this card. That's one thing you can do. And I believe there's a nail that puts a card under another card, you know. If there are 3 or more Namekians under this card gains barrier until the end of your opponent's next turn. I wouldn't want to have to choose that. That's kind of eh. Then choose up to one of your opponent's energy and switch it to rest mode. That card can't be switched to active mode until the end of your next turn. Your opponent's next turn. That's interesting, though. That one is actually really cool. So, if you need to go aggressive, the Piccolo can go aggressive. He gets 3,000 for each card under. He also has double strike innately and 20k 4-drop. Not bad. And then there are other things that he can be powerful from the other cards in the set. But if you need to protect him because you're not ready to go aggro, you can protect him by giving him barrier. Which, the only thing that gets rid of that is cards that ignore barrier or swing active, I guess. Assuming you didn't swing with it, right? Because why would you? You can also force their energy to stay rested, which is good because it's one less energy they can use to punish you. So, I like it. I like their card. Still not exactly, in my opinion, what I'm looking for, though. In a Piccolo card for that engine. But I like it. I think he's good. Purunga! Okay, so Purunga has a card. I assume he's going to be a lot like the 5-drop Shenron or something. 4-drop. This card can attack. Okay. Switch this card to rest mode. If your leader card is a black Shenron card, choose 1. Wait a minute. The other ones don't switch to rest mode, do they? When you play this card, draw 2 cards, then choose 1. No, I'm looking at the 5-drop Shenron right now. He does not switch to rest mode. And the 4-drop Shenron, he also does not switch to rest mode. But Purunga is also a 3-drop. And those are 5 and 4. And he also has 20k, so I guess. And it's an activate main, unlike the 5, but more so like the 4. Purunga also doesn't have a sparking requirement. You know what? Purunga could be the best one here. I see why he switches to rest mode. Out of him and the 2 Shenron cards, I think he's the best one. I 100% understand why he switches to rest mode. Draw 2 cards. Choose one of your battle cards, and it gets 10,000 for until the end of the turn. Until the end of the opponent's next turn. Wow. See, like there's a handful of cards that are coming out in this set that are doing things like, oh, until the end of your opponent's next turn, gain a power boost, minus their power boost, or until the end of the turn. Like, there's like crazy stuff in this set. This Purunga seems really good. The final ability, choose one of your and your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier. Then choose the rest of your and your opponent's cards in the battle area ignoring barrier. And shuffle them into the... He has a built-in Zeno? What the hell? Choose one of your and your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier. Then choose the rest of your and your opponent's cards in the battle area ignoring barrier and shuffle them into that. So you guys both get... No, you get to choose. You choose one of your opponent's cards and one of your cards that stay out there. And then everything else leaves. If I'm understanding that correctly. Also, this card is forced to be under a black Shenron leader. I just noticed that, which means it can be under the Purunga deck or the Shenron deck. Whereas the 5 and the 4 can be anywhere. They just have a sparking requirement. So this is a totally different card from them. It's similar, but different. Don't they have a freaking Desire that does this thing? It's kind of the same thing as a Desire. They're giving a lot of options to board wipe. Like, in the last couple sets, they've been given a lot of options to board wipe. See, like, something like this. What even is the point of playing the Ginyu Force chain, old one or new one, if they can just wipe the board that easily? Turn 3, he can just wipe the whole damn board. Which, I mean, Zeno could technically do that turn 3, too. Chain Zeno. This card is... This is the most polarizing card on this list. Wow. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Crazy good card. Let's take a look at some of the featured and all that stuff. We're going to go pretty quickly through here. Union Fusion for 3 energy. 1 red Goku in Vegeta BR. Barrier Blocker Veku. When this card is KO'd, if your leader card is a blue Gogeta BR, choose up to 1 red Goku and Vegeta BR from your drop area and add them to your hand. That's good because they're Union Fusion fodder. If you added 2 cards to your hand, add 2 cards from the top of your deck to your energy. Nasty card. Ramp like a madman. And he's easy to KO. He's also a blocker. And he's a barrier card. This card's good. Very good card. Here's Gogeta. Base form Gogeta. Comeback King. Dope. 7 energy Union. 8 drop otherwise. Wow. Barrier blocker. When you play this card with Union, add 3 cards to the top of your deck to your energy. What the? Oh, so these guys are mad ramp. Dende is so punished by something like this. Because he can't keep up with this at all. You objection, objection, objection. You got to get to 7 energy to do something like this. But really, you just need 3. Because even from there, Veku does 2. And that shoots you to 5. You just objection, I think, twice. And you're good. What the hell? Or like the Bulma Whis chain, right? Top card from your deck. Like, it'll suck if you charge something you don't want to charge. Also, pretty interesting. These cards are freaking barrier blockers. So they can just kind of be out there as blocker cards. So they're not negatives. That's interesting, man. And then when you just get that much energy, you'll be able to just keep going. These cards are going to be interesting, man. Veku, it's very good Veku is limited. Because Veku would be the real problem because he's the one you play first every time. I was just thinking about how these cards would be insanely good without Whis. The one that makes you take an extra turn. But I think you have to be in a God deck for the Whis to activate, if I recall correctly. Have to go back and double check. Been a while. But Veku is limited to being in this deck. And you also have to pull those cards. So you have to be playing those cards for Union. So, that's interesting. Alright, Super Saiyan Broly. Demonic Intimidation. For 2 energy, yellow BR card. Yellow Broly BR with an energy cost of 4. There was... like a handful of those. Were they green? Damn, they were green, weren't they? One of the 2. Nonetheless, they were good. If the total number of cards in rest mode between you and your opponent is 6, by the way, that includes leaders and energy. It just says cards. Reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. So that's very easy to get. It turns into a 4-drop. When you play this card, you can only activate skills on cards that are green or yellow and no other color for the duration of the turn. I'm happy they added green in there because the Frieza Force Broly stuff wants to be a green and yellow deck innately. I think the freaking starter deck is green and yellow. It wants to be that. So this is a really cool card to add to that list. Whereas these cards right here don't really synergize with the stuff that we've seen so far, but we haven't seen enough of set 6. So, once per turn, choose 1 card from your hand and place it in the drop area. Choose 1 of your opponent's cards in rest mode, and that card can't be switched to active until the end of your opponent's next turn. Stuff like this really punishes that Bardock we read about earlier, the SR Bardock from Clash of Fates. Good card, though. Once per turn, he can just keep doing that. You know what I'm noticing, though, is that these cards have busted abilities, but they don't have stuff... like, that's why I said it was a big deal. These cards have barrier blocker. But they don't have stuff like, you know, double strike or triple strike, critical hit, whatever. The Broly also doesn't have barrier, so... here's this Broly. Another 4-drop Broly, so he evolves on top of that card. Okay, I see. If the total number of cards in rest mode between you and your opponent is 3 or more, that's super easy. He becomes a 2-drop, so for 2 more energy, he can evolve. Interesting. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and rest mode, and that card can't be switched to active until the end of your opponent's next turn. Pretty much the same ability as this card. Except this one isn't forced to be a battle card. You pitch one of your cards to force one of their cards to stay rested. That also should include the leader, for example, because it just says cards. Pretty cool. All right, those cards do come out in March, but a little bit before that, we do have some cards that are going to be coming out that do help out some older archetypes and stuff. So here we go. Red Baby with an energy cost of 4. That's very easy with the Union Babies from set 4, I believe. Double Strike, when a card evolves into this card, draw 1 card. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards. It gets minus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. And you can't play Super Baby 1 Parasite Menace for the duration of the turn. By the way, this guy evolves for free, so that's really easy to do. He also has another ability. For 1 energy, choose 1 baby card with an energy cost of 6 from your hand and play it on top of it. Wow. Wow. What is that, a turn 2 Super Baby? The 8 Baby? Oh my goodness. Okay then. This is a really good card in that deck anyway. That's fun, man. That's cool. They needed something like that. Oh, here, Rudigarn. Another big drops, 7-drop Rudigarn. Blocker, if you have 1 or more copies of both Tapion and Minosha cards in your drop area and a Phantom Demon card is in play in your battle area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. This card gets minus 10,000 for the turn. So if you don't have a Hirudegarn in play, but you do have a Tapion and Minosha, you can play this card as a blocker for free. And if you don't block that turn, it turns into a 20k swinger. Pretty solid, because it's very easy to do something like that in the Hirudegarn deck. Not great to me, but pretty solid. Oh, he's doing a light grenade. That's dope. Burst 3. Place the top 3 cards in your deck in the drop to activate the skill. When you play this card from your hand, choose up to 1 Namekian or Universe 7. Oh, he's Universe 7? Oh, I love that. I love that it says Namekian or Universe 7. Dope. We need more Universe 7 cards. Choose 1 from your hand with an original energy cost of 4 or less. Negate its skill for the duration of the turn and play it. This is the big line here, because that takes it away from being a Child's Wish target. That's very smart from them. There's also no color cost. He's U7, so he's colorless in the U7 decks. He can play a 4 or less. I can already think of some cards that are good 4 or less Namekians, like, for example, the Super Rare Piccolo from set 4. Good. Also, all the Namekian stuff that's coming out in Clash of Fates, good. He negates the skill for the turn, but that's either not a big deal or a big deal at certain times. The whole Universe 7 thing is crazy because, I mean, like, what the hell, man? Also, it's saying original energy cost is a big deal because there's like that 5-drop Goku that can manipulate his energy depending on how much life you have. He'd go down to being a 4-drop. Well, you can play something like At All Costs Vegeta from your hand, and that's really, really good value because you just played him for free. U7 doesn't have a whole lot of great targets, but that's still really cool. I like this card a lot. I think he's a really cool addition to that deck. Not a big fan of the Burst, because if you're playing Victory Strike, that's not a great thing. But still, really cool. Burst 3 is a lot, too. Oh, another Universe 7 card. This one's also Goku Lineage, and he swaps. Swapped 8. Oh, he's a 3-drop. He's just like the Goku Jr., very early into Swap 8. Interesting. So you bring this guy out. Swap 3 is easy to get. For 4 energy, though, you play him turn, and he has Barrier. Okay, this card's good. He's already good. Because you go swap 1, or play 1, swap 2. The following turn, unless you have energy manipulation, I guess, you go the next swap. And you could just go. And then for 4 energy, as soon as you get 4 energy, you're able to go. The way that they limited this card, though, is if you have Sparking 7. You have to have 7 in the drop, which is kind of hard to do that early, unless you play a Burst later. When you play this card, choose up one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest, and draw a card. Good. This is a good card, though. It's not as penalizing as the Goku Jr. was, so that's what makes it good. Demigra, Overrealm 4, not Dark Overrealm. All Demigra cards in your hand with an energy cost of 7 gain Xeno Evolve for 3 energy. That's pretty cool. So when you play this card, you can't play non-black battle cards for the duration of the turn, and your opponent can't attack with battle cards with an original power of 10,000 or less until the end of their next turn. So when you play him, and he's an overrun 4, so that's super easy. For 3 energy, you can pop out a big Demigras. I'd have to pull up the card and see its abilities. Seems like really good value, though. But that's it, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you were new. And yeah, we'll be back. I'll catch all of you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.